through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it. Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m.
Out there, and welcome to the Wednesday's edition of Newsroom. My name is Olade. I'll run through the topics before I introduce in the newsroom what we expect others to. The first topic says 2023 elections, use of dogs, other pets are polling units criminal. That is correct in the police force. We'll be discussing of what benefit of who is benefiting from having pets, especially dogs. Is it a when you say pets, is it for the voters or the owner of the pets? Mostly polling units we are supposed to be casting our votes. And then people saying pure criminal get there will be viewing it and will be, of course, that's what they call Dogs Act. That is that. The second topic says, still on electoral issue, 2020 electoral act incomplete, insensitivity to diaspora voting. You know that for us, in the last few years, the Nigerians in diaspora have been clamoring that as Nigerians, as bona fide citizens of this country, they don't want to be excluded from what's going on political issues in the country are concerned. Don't forget the diaspora, Nigerians in diaspora who are financially contributing to the country, and they are saying politically too they want to be involved. What they are saying is is enough. And the third topic is talking about the 2023 census. That's to be a few weeks. It's a few weeks because according to the table, to the dates given, census starts March 20 and ends every second. We are going to spend 869 billion naira. I know the what I'm saying. I know that if I read your mind, I will be saying, that's like and that is, I will say, outrageous and close to $1 trillion. And I would like to, Usman, welcome to this.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to our viewers at home. It's my pleasure to be here again today.
Yes, we love to see you all the time. I know the other guests will join us very, very soon. I will in 3 elections, use of dogs and pets at polling booths where we are supposed to be casting our votes. The Nigerian police force is saying what dogs or other pets.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think as our electoral system is evolving, issues will be coming up, and then as they're coming up, we'll be addressing them one after the other. In that process, we will have been sanitizing our electoral system. We have been, pushing it up. That a time will come when it will be at par. The international standard. So now, if you look at from my own perspective, I think the Nigerian police is coming from the angle on the fact that a lot of young people are not interested, to be part of our election, especially on the day of election. Now, if you look at the last presidential National Assembly election, a lot of people who are now interested are now move around with it. And various of their officers that were on feed all over the country during the last presidential and National Assembly, that the turnout of have issued that young people can also have pets like dogs, another kind of pet, cats and what have you. But it is more the percentage of younger people are more older people are likely to go to the holding centers with those pets. And then we said that before I will come back to the issue of Dog Act of 1958, but ideally and even legally, the polling unit is supposed to be safe, secure, and peaceful in whatever sense that it must be for people who are voting, for the officials who are managing those, at least the immediate vicinity of that is what we said this time, maybe last week on this program, that even the police officers are on duty, you can hardly see any weapon on them, not anything, just know that the normal voter, the average voter will be relaxed and will be carrying out his duty, his or civic duty in the
but you see some parts of this person they want to protect from intimidation from political talks who may want to snatch. You see that
that is not they are not in the position to take care of that.
To protect themselves?
No, they are you see one thing about that when that starts. I mean, you have the right to protect yourself, but you don't have the right to intimidate and harass. Let me give you an instance. There are people, not dog is even far. Let's not go far. I mean, some people afraid when they see cockroach. Just there are some people that will be so so allergic to some of those pets, cats. I know a particular friend. If that person sees a cat, he is not going to sleep all over through the night, throughout the night. So a lot of people are allergic to some of these pets, and when you bring them, in order to protect your own self, your own self, in that process, you are going to frighten, you are going to bring fear. One. Yes. That process, you are not the one. If it is the excuse of snatching of ballot paper, the issue of protecting ballot paper from being snatched is not the duty of voters. It is the sole duty of the security agents, the police, and all that. And if you look at this issue of snatching of ballot box and all, it is becoming less and less every election that we have, except for the fact that the Electoral Act has not given some of our political, leaders some loopholes, whereby if some kind of incidents were recorded in that unit, the Electoral Act gives that officer there to cancel the election of that unit. So political parties and their thugs and their people now use that avenue to go and destroy the unit in order not to make the vote of that place count.
Also, they are very weak electorally.
Yes. So the moment you allow them to be going to the polling booth with their can, you see, it is not even some of these own breed dogs. We have foreign breed dogs that even they're messing you scared. So it will arouse and intimidate and will take away that peaceful atmosphere that we see with a polling unit. It will take it away totally. By the time we allow, just imagine a polling unit, you have 10 dogs at a time. And people are trying to for dog to touch your dress. If a dog should touch your dress, whether with a mouth or to perform salat again, the obligation. So issues around dogs and all that. So it is a no-go area that if we allow it. So I support the Nigerian police that we should not do that. And now let me quickly look at the issue of the Dog Act of 1958. It says that dog could be classified as offensive weapons. Offensive weapon is offensive and is also a weapon. The weapon you are saying you want to run away from, you are also bringing it to the unit and all that. So it is a very good observation from now.
But you also use.
Yes, the police also use that. Yes, the police also use dogs, but the police doesn't use dogs in the polling units. The police are people are with vehicles that not to be able to maybe weapons or papers that they want to go and we can use dogs in those areas to sniff out things that should not be moved around the election. But at the vicinity of the polling units where we are, a Nigerian police will bring a kind of weapon to that place. So even if Nigerian police is using it, they don't use it on the day of election. They don't use it at the polling unit because the people that are voting, I think we are on electronic voting. You go to your polling unit, you enter the building, you go, you press, and you can go with your dog. But the kind of settings that we are, everybody will be at a place from 3 and people. We have 1,000 people. At a time, you see 3,000, 4,000 in some units. So how do you bring dogs to that unit, and there will be no breakdown of law and order? And I've also discussed the issue of the religious aspect of dogs to some sect of religion. In a whole, it is, and dogs have also been classified as offensive weapons.
Okay, aside the police act of 1952, there's also the section 161 of the electoral act. The electoral act amended. It listed electoral breaches under the law, and paragraph of weapons calculated to intimidate others and electoral officers. The role of the police in this, you see the police raising an alarm. Shouldn't police
I think
in arresting those of them? It's what the electoral act, section 121, and which classify electoral offences. Police dog at that moment. You see what alarm is police raising? Why not?
The police cannot fight arresting.
Okay.
But as I said it in my intro, that you see, some of these things are just evolving. Some of these things are just occurring. It is not a normal thing before. In the past, when you go to polling units, you accept some young guys, especially let's talk about cities now, Lagos, Port, and places like that. Only people. You only see youth at the university. There's only some set of people that are not, but youths. how they are ruled and how they are governed. So in that instance, the Nigerian police might have gotten a report that instead now occurring on a larger scale. Maybe report of it, occurring in 5, 6, 7 states, with some units having 5, 6, 7 dogs. So it is now, the first thing is for the police, what they do is for them what to do first, to educate Nigeria. Even that will, intimidate. Let me read the dog act. Be classed offensive weapons as owners or handlers can use them to intimidate as body. In fact, let me tell you, some dogs people will scatter once the dog is trying to attack people. So people will stay and allow a dog to bite him. So that is to show you that even the owners can use at that place for their own favor or to their own favor to cause, controversies to other people's lives. So now the police is doing the right thing by not starting with arresting people that are going. People don't know that it is against the law. The police should enlighten to sensitize the Nigerian populace that see, do this and this. Be having again, the police there should tell the person is that take it away from this place. You cannot have disturbances at the polling. Then arrest and then follow.
The 2023 election. About some day or 2 days ago, the IGP from top hierarchy of the police force and he announced that about 2 or 3 people have been arrested during the election, presidential election, with various electoral offences and throughout the country. And he said wise, some were caught with 18 firearms or various institutions recovered for political talks.
Nigeria is a very big country. We cannot have a presidential election without having some incidences here and there. But what we have been advocating for all this is that, if INEC is if the Nigerian presidency are doing that by enacting laws process, if the INEC is doing their own part by following every part of that act to make sure that the Nigerian police force and other sister agencies like the EFCC and others should also be doing their own part. As some of these arrests are made, what we need to see is to see people having their day with the court, facing the law, the law taking its course, and then people are prosecuted as it may be, and then they are given various sentences. If we see that even the Nigerian police force can use that to help people, because electoral offences in so year, we know that some of these things are not rhetorics. But the moment you just come and tell us and tell the president that we arrested 5 people, where are they? Where will they be? Where will they be prosecuted? We need you will not know when you commit offences, you will be jailed, you will be prosecuted and jailed. Look at the issue of vote buying. We see EFCC saying they arrested two persons, they arrested two places, but you realize that those people are not maybe 4 weeks, maybe somebody will call somebody, they will release. So we don't we give them kudos for doing that. They need to push it further by prosecuting those people that have committed some offences during this election, so that it will serve as lessons for people who are planning to do that again. We need to have strong institutions. The police should stand on their feet and not one politician, just be calling them around and wanting them to take
this along before we leave this of the
that is what we are saying. You see, I it on this back. You see, unless we don't know how to get out of that problem, but if somebody gets to the police force not by his own work, not because he made that post, he called somebody and say, "Give me one slot, I'll give it to my brother." Deputy Commissioner, if that person is going to release it. But if I get to a point by you know, did work and it, nobody will dare call and say, "Do this for me and I'll serve as errand boy for that person." So I think in order to get away from that, to allow politicians, if these things, even EFCC, it is politicians that do place some of these people that how they do their recruitment and all that. So if we want to get out of this, the merits, especially when we are recruiting in the security forces in Nigeria, let nobody be given a slot. Why will somebody that is, you know, that is qualified for a particular post and give the post to somebody that is not qualified because that person is your brother or is your sister or is somebody and somebody. So if we want to get out of this, we want to grip of confederalism and architecture, we need to start by pushing out merits. If you merit a post, give it to that. In that instance, in 5 years to come, pedigree have risen up to the hierarchy of some system, and then you see in the election. In the past, so things are reduced. We need to build. The only way we have to build it is that all elections, no matter how highly placed, if an offender put behind us, you see that all these cases of arresting the ban them from politics for so many years. Some of these things go down and then the process of sanitizing our electoral system will, you know, be boosted, and in years to come, and we are trying. Let's see. If you look at the last 20-something years as a democratic nation, I mean, in this republic, we are trying. We cannot compare ourselves with nations that have been conducting elections 200, 300 years, that have gone through all these rough stages that we are now going through. If you look at the things that happened during the last election, you know that things are really changing and things are not the way it used to be.
Before we leave this topic, I want you to speak to this. The election of the President and National Assembly. Look at the police. First time in the history of our beloved country, the Nigerian
is saying around now. It is great that they will say it. The police will give them cover and will give them everything they need. And look the other way. electoral malpractices, and the police. Seeing some level of reform. See, some people are, I mean, things that some people will do in the past as somebody just, sweep it under the. You realize that people will, there will be loopholes for some of these forces and some of these people to operate. Even if a police wants to operate, where will he operate? The people are no more fighting in the polling units. People will just vote and will stay there and make sure that their vote counts. People are becoming more enlightened. So the police work is becoming more minimal in an election. They hardly call them for, they say, people are fighting here, people are fighting there. No, things are becoming more stabilized compared to the past where we use analog type of voting system where you just have to get your temporary voter's card that can be printed anywhere for that matter, and you take it there and politicians will do whatever they like. But it is good. The workload will be lessened on the neck of the police because the Electoral Act are taking care of some of things that do generate tensions, like people snatching boxes. If you snatch box now, I was watching the collation. A particular state came. I said they cancelled the election in about 28 units, and the election was running to about 75,000 votes.
In Imo State?
Yes, it's somewhere in the east. And they cancelled everywhere. People, even if you go to a unit and they say, no, we are not using ballot papers, what they told the presiding officer is that they say they will not tell them you've had them. And then just write to report that they say they want to cancel the whole unit. Even if they are 10,000, you cancel it. In that instance, the challenges is no more, the pressure is no more on INEC. It is now on the political actors. They are now giving themselves some level of decorum that see, we need to put our house in order to get it right.
Shall we go to the second topic? Ablative 2022 Electoral Act, incomplete, insensitivity to diaspora voting. Agitation has been on for some time. Agitation on Nigerians in diaspora. They want to be counted. They want to be part of the system. They want to feel belong to Nigeria's political system.
I think our people in the diaspora should be reasonable enough with Nigerian system, and then they know what operates over there in their so-called serial crimes. And if they want to be realistic, they will know that we are just trying. But someone that has not comfortably in a sitting position, that is not comfortably in a sitting position, that said they want to stretch his or her legs, that person is going to fall. These things are gradual processes. we are still, you know, when the issue of electronic voting were introduced, you see, some Nigerians were so skeptical about it because they know our politicians, they know what they can do. They know that if they do what they know how to do best, nobody is going to call them to order. They have their ways of, you know, bypassing the judicial system so that they will not be accountable for what they do. So that is what people are skeptical. But now, gradually, in step by steps, we are going into electronic voting even without us knowing. You see, we've introduced what do you call it? The one we use, the one we used in the last presidential election, card readers. Okay. Even after that card reader, we moved to beavers. We don't know what we are going to move to in the next election. Maybe in the next election, you don't even need to bring your voter's card. You just need to be put. You just all your. Just press it. Maybe in the next election, you can even vote in your room. So we are just getting there. Our people in the diaspora should be patient with our system because we cannot do all these things in a day. Even most of these, developed countries, aside the US and maybe 5 or 6 other countries that are using electronic voting, that are using diaspora voting, most countries are not using it. This is because there are a lot of issues around it. What is the number of your citizens in a particular country? Do we have it? Do we have that database? Today, does Nigerian, people go through the desperate journeys, what do you call them, through the Sahara Desert to Libya, from there they will cross the Mediterranean Sea and all that. So, we might not have that data. And even if we have it, how do we do it? Do we take our voting materials there, or they vote electronically? Our electoral act does not support electronic.
They are saying that Nigerians, they say they are being disqualified from performing their civic rights. That's what stopped Nigeria from getting the electoral act amended, so that they can equally be accommodated.
What we are saying that the people, Nigerians in diaspora should be patient. These things are in steps. These things are procedural stuffs. When next we want to amend the electoral act, there are, like this electoral act now, there are some, as beautiful as it is, if you read it very well, there are still some loopholes here and there that politicians have studied, and they are using it to their advantage. When next we want to amend it, we'll take care of that. If there is need, if we can, go through the electoral voting, we'll try it. But for now, I'm not sure there is any modality that we can use that will not breed another confusion. Because do we take beavers there, and then after them voting, we now ship or fly the beavers back down to Nigeria again?
The argument is this, that they need to come to Nigeria to vote. That
they are voting in their embassies, in the embassy of Nigeria.
Yes, that's from the country. That's what they're saying.
Those countries.
That's what they're saying.
But there are things, there are modalities, there are things you need to put before you do that. That's why I said I'll get the right figure of the countries in the world that are doing the electoral voting. They are not up to 10. The number is so minimal. But it is a technical thing that you need to get it right before you get into it.
They are saying it has implication from Nigeria not belonging to the League of Modern Democracies. That's the argument.
Yes, that's argument there in a day. Rome is not built in a day. We will get there. We are just after this republic is just 20-something years. It is not that long. Even that we've gotten this stage, it is a plus. How many people that we started with in 1999? So many African countries have not changed any government since 1999. We've changed about up to 4 or 5 presidents. 2/3 of African countries have not changed any government since 1990. But here we are, after every 4 years, we are changing our system of governance. We are transiting from one leader to another, and then we are even sanitizing our electoral system by introducing a lot of reforms into it. No, we are getting there. We cannot get there in a day. The issue of diaspora voting is also things that we need to gather, we need to brainstorm on it. We need to gather our best of to think for us on how best we can go about it. So that in the next election, maybe soon, They will be voting too, and their votes will count. They are Nigerians, and they are eligible to vote wherever they are.
Maybe they should also make this one of the arguments they are talking about. The scenario that is making them non-Nigerian by not being able to vote, and they have been unable to contribute to the development of the country politically.
Yes, they might not be able to contribute now, but the thing is, some of these things, even like I said, and I've been discussing with top Nigerians, well-placed Nigerians, and I do tell them that, have you ever think that we'll be so fast here where we are now? We'll be so fast in getting to where we are now? And some of them do tell me that yes, and they do reason along with me that we've been moving very fast. We've been moving very fast. For instance, for God's sake, we are very close to full electronic voting. What remains is just a system whereby the moment you vote, your vote will be centrally counted. That is the best thing. That is the thing that we are still getting. If you look at the issue about the issue of INEC server and all that, it is that aspect that remains in our electronic voting. The moment you vote, it will count somewhere and it will count centrally. There's nothing called electronic voting more than that. But when you move to another country, it is not your country. For instance, if you want to vote in the USA, there are procedures you have to go through. You have to inform the country, that country, that we are voting, and my citizens in your country are going to vote.
And they have been doing that.
Yes, and they will make provisions for people in that country because it is their own soil, and so they are like US now. Unless some of there are some issues around this diaspora voting that people are not even taking, they are not even look at those sites. There are places in the US that if you want to fly to Nigerian embassy in Washington from that place, you will need nothing less than $1,000 to Afro, because it is very far. And some of these Nigerians are just struggling. They are just, you know that. Not that it is not that every state or every local government in the US you now domesticate a polling unit there. No, you put a polling unit will be at the state embassy, the federal embassy of that country in that nation. So everybody will have to move there. So let us see what will happen between now and the next time that we'll be amending our electoral act, so that we will call experts in that area, then we'll brainstorm on how best we can go about it, and then we have our diaspora voting and insert it. We might even start with some few countries, US, UK, about 5 or 7 countries. We try it as pilot countries, and after that we integrate other countries of the world. So it is a gradual process. Our people in the diaspora should be patient enough so that when it is time, they will be integrated into the system, and they will also vote. We understand that they are enthusiasts about the issue of voting, and they want to participate in the process of selecting or electing people that will govern them. But they should be patient enough so that we get there one day.
I do. You are welcome. I already said you said you will be a bit. You should excuse us, but then. Thank God you are around now, and what you are able to do, and what we are discussing. I know you will be the second topic. I know you'll be much familiar with it. Diaspora voting. Our citizens outside the country will keep on insisting that look, we are there for it, and that if we are not trying to make them get them away, make them non-existent, we are not trying to make them non-Nigerian. If you are not trying to deny them their civic rights, they should vote too and contribute politically.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here. Diaspora voting is something that must be taken seriously. But before we plunge into it, there has to be some preparation, the programming, the system, how things will be arranged. Before the United States went into absentee voting or voting from a foreign country, they went through some planning, some designing of the program, and some implementation. What's that called? Test run of it. And before you vote, they have early voting. Early voting, if election is in November, early voting will start early October. And diaspora
a month interval.
Yes, about a month before.
Okay.
And diaspora voting starts, I think, about 6 weeks before the final election, because you cast your vote online, and you send your finished copy to a central location, and then that will be processed there and packaged and sent to the United States, and they will hold it until election day. Nobody will open it. On election day, after they have counted all the votes, then they will count absentee ballots. They call it absentee ballot. They will count absentee ballots, and then after absentee ballots, then they will count the diaspora voting, which is part of absentee balloting. So that is the system. It's not just everything done on one day or the same week. So it has to be systematic approach to it, so that everything will be in order. Even in the United States, there is still accusation of how somebody has opened the ballot before it got to the place where they counted. So
can it be manipulated?
In this case of the United States, it's very difficult to do, because you will have to first of all go online and do your voting there, and then you print it out and send it to either the U.S. Embassy or a U.S. Agency somewhere before they count it. It can hardly be manipulated. But in Nigeria, we shouldn't plunge into it. It needs to be planned very, very carefully.
And even with millions of Nigerians outside the country?
Yeah, well, how many million?
And they are saying we have been denied.
I will up to 10 million. Outside the country.
We don't have the right figure.
Even a million figure. I don't know, even a billion is a million, not.
That's a million. That's a lot of people. And they should not be denied. And nobody is saying they should be denied, but I'm just saying that there should be systematic approach to it, so that it will not be manipulated, or it will not be, a fraud will not be introduced into it. Because everything, there is something called the Nigerian factor, where some things can happen. So it has to be approached carefully.
I want to add to.
Okay.
I mean, the United States starts this absentee voting in 1942. That is almost 100 years.
Exactly.
So it is not an overnight thing that people will just. I mean, United Kingdom started in 1918. So that is to tell you that these people have gone through some of it. It is not something
very long time.
Very long time. 1918. Very long time. Yes. United Kingdom started 1918, and US started 1942. So if you look at some of this, it is not an overnight thing that we just jump into.
Exactly.
Look at it. He said you have to vote before that day, and you send it. Somebody might manipulate it, and if you don't have tight and strong institutions that can hold their stand and don't allow manipulations, people will
before we leave this topic, they also have a case. They also have an argument that if they are contributing financially, you talk of diaspora funding to the growth of the country.
About 3 billion a year.
Naira or billion? Naira or dollar?
Dollars.
And so they are saying, if you can accept our financial contribution, what of political contribution?
Yeah, exactly. Political contribution should be accepted as well, but you can't just jump into it. Because look at the beavers we are talking about. We just introduced beavers. It has been test run in 3 states. Now it's being done nationally. And look at the questions that have arisen as a result of it. The beavers is working fine, but the server that's receiving it needs some work. So INEC said this has been corrected, of course.
Okay, shall we go to the third topic? Time is a bit against us. I'll be back to you, because you maybe that to serve the punishment for coming a bit. First, going to spend 869 billion naira on census.
On census, yes. 869
billion
naira.
It will not, of course, that money will not be anything to you.
Of course, when we convert that into foreign currency, that's not much money.
But in Nigeria,
in Nigeria, it's going to be in the millions of dollars or pounds or euro. It will be millions. But in Nigerian currency, it's billion, 869 billion. That is still a lot of money.
I was about to say, maybe.
Yeah, that is still a lot of money, but you also need a lot of people in order that the enumeration process will be carried out properly, and professionally, and there will be no question about whether it's good or bad. So all of these things have to be done properly, and it costs money. Yes, and you employ people for about how many? For 2 months, 3 months, and you have to be paying them monthly. So 869 billion is not too much to spend on census, because we have to know how many of us, and everything, the distribution of resources, constituency allowance, taxes, and all of that, based on proper enumeration and the proper number of people in each area, each district. So it has to be done, and I don't think that's too much money to spend on it.
When you just like I just said, when you look at the importance in knowing the exact figure of this country, at times we'll say over a little above 200 billion people, over 200 billion people, and all those figures. More so, the last we had, 2006 census seems questionable. That amount.
That amount is outrageous to me, in the sense that recently the Senate called the attention of the NPC, Nigeria Population Commission, to the about 20-something billion or so said to be spent on training of, I don't know, they just target training of some things also. When the National Assembly got wind of that money, it was so outrageous they had to call the NPC to come and meet the House Committee. So much on just training of some people, not even the actual training, just training of people that will train and train the trainers.
Training is not just count 1, 2, 3.
I know,
but
when the National Assembly, what they said they did with that money, could not have, they shouldn't have spent that much. That is why the National Assembly has to call it. So what I'm trying to drive at is that, you see, we shouldn't leave what I know, knowing the actual number of people or the approximate number of people in a country is important for national planning and all that. But you see, we shouldn't leave this issue of population census to Nigerian Population Commission alone. It has to be a collective project of Nigerians, because from what we've been seeing, the budget of INEC in the last 4 years is not up to 800 billion.
Okay.
You know,
so the budget of INEC yearly around 195, 198, 190 for those 4 years. So it is not up to that amount they want to spend in just 1 week.
I want to record.
I want to take this to technical and financial assistance for international agencies. We also have
it's part of the money.
United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, IMF, EU, development partners and others.
Yes.
And
well, the exercise of counting or enumerating takes 1 week. But the preparation before, they've been preparing long before now, even from last year. They've been recruiting ad hoc, they've been training staff, they've been recruiting and buying more equipment and setting up the equipment and all the servers and all of that. The process takes much longer. The counting is 1 week, but then the preparation takes longer. And then the post-counting, after they have counted, that will take another year. Before they release the figures, it may be 6 months, maybe 1 year before the final figures are released, and it costs a lot of money, especially in equipment and skilled personnel. So I personally am not saying that money is too much, but it's money that must be well spent. We cannot have them spend this money now and revert back to what Baba Awolowo criticized way back in 1960 something. Said a nation that cannot count itself. That's what Papa Awolowo said way back in 1962 or 60 something. So now we cannot go back to that. We must make sure that the money we are spending now and all the equipment we are employing now and all the people we are training now, we are training them not just for today but for the future, when they will come back again and do the same thing, or maybe they will become permanent staff of NPC. So we must make sure that NPC spends this money wisely and NPC gives account of every penny that is spent. One thing in Nigeria or most third world countries is that there is no accountability. You give me 1,000, then I come back and say I have spent 1,000. I don't tell you how I spent 1,000. So that is what we don't want to see happen in this instant.
I will say, before we round up, you seem to be talking about that of Mongol thing. When you look at the obsolete data and lack of planning, that I just said, and don't forget that it's been 20 years ago that Nigeria has, like I said, disputed 2006 census. You think the man doesn't want it if you can get the figure of Nigerians?
Yes, I'm just because of some other factors and some other issues that I have been seeing and hearing about the way they are planning it, which I know in the actual sense of it. I'm not sure that money will be put into unless we police it very well, and then we ask for accountability, like he said. But you see, some of the reasons why that money is that huge is that they said they are going to use modern gadgets, unlike the analog system of counting that we did in 2006. And in fairness to them, I went to one of their training centers just to get some. I saw a lot of gadgets on ground that they are training those people that are the field coordinators and all that are training them with them. Acquire some and they are still expecting some. So just like INEC that is using beavers, and they are also going to have their own gadgets, which when they count with it, people can even go and ask, how much did you count in my locality? Unlike in the past where they document it and in handwritten forms. And so some of these new forms and new things that are bringing into the counting. But like Adewumi said, we should just find a way that I'm an advocate of the fact that we shouldn't leave it to them alone. As it is now, it is only the doing of NPC staffs alone. The people must come together, stakeholders must come, and then look at the way they are planning it, so that it will not fail. That amount is too big for them to plan a census that will fail.
That's Omongo's point.
Close to $1 trillion is not.
I want to speak to his actual census March 29 to April 2nd.
Yeah.
You see, public arrangement, you see, it's been enough?
Actually, it should be 10 to 15 days. So March 29 to April 2nd is just 1 week. That is too brief. Especially when you have many rural areas where there is no technology, where births are not recorded, where they go to farm, you hardly get them in the daytime. So that's enough.
What area?
Exactly, it's not enough time. It should be at least 2 weeks.
So I will give them kudos for what they have done so far, but we want them to involve more people so that the planning, as it is now, if that census is conducted in that date that they are planning,
29 to April 7th.
A lot of deficiencies in the planning that I know. And we can't afford to have a census that will not be generally accepted.
Our time has been so spent. I don't know, you have a final.
Oh, that's what we're going to say. Let's just let them not squander the money. That's a lot of money. 869 billion. There should be accountability. The leadership should give a periodic report to the National Assembly and to the President how this money is being spent and what they have achieved.
Time has been so spent, but I'm happy. Abdul was able to join us, and Abdulatif Usman has been doing justice to the topic for you. I want to appreciate you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
God bless you. We'll pray to see more of you in good health.
Next time.
Yes, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Until some other time, when we'll be back in the newsroom. My name is Olagayala Nipekon. Good evening.
Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.